Midday Report on your number one news and talk station.
Well, let's get straight to our top story, and it's the big story from Friday night. The police are still searching for more suspects who fled the church at Mancoba in the Eastern Cape when the police raided the building, killing 7 people and arresting 10 others. The country was left in shock last week when 5 policemen and a retired soldier were shot dead at a police station. It was a bizarre story. It was absolutely bizarre because at the time, South Africans couldn't fathom exactly what had happened, what was going on there. Last Friday night, a combined force struck back, but there has been further shock at what else has been revealed. A cult has been operating in that area, which was also involving children in that. Just some of the photographs that came through from the weekend, and it looks like there was a massive shootout there. The question I have, though, and the Midday Report has, is it comes down to why this cult, where did it come from? How did it start? How did it formulate? On the line is clinical psychologist Thabang Tlaka. Good afternoon, Thabang. Welcome to the Midday Report. Thabang?
Hello, how are you?
There we go. We've got you now. Hi, Thabang. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Report. Do cults simply target the most vulnerable in society? I mean, take us through some of your thoughts around this cult.
Not necessarily. So, cults, people are more susceptible to cults when they are in transitional periods. So when somebody is struggling after a divorce, where people don't have necessarily a sense of purpose, or when somebody's also not as assertive or your thinking is not as established. But cults, anybody can get involved in a cult. It's not necessarily somebody who's educated or uneducated. It just depends on somebody's character and where they are in life.
Yeah, but it's very difficult then once that person has got into this cult to remove them. And with Mongani this morning on the 702 Breakfast Show, he was talking to the Eastern Cape Safety MEC who said a lot of these pensioners just don't want to leave this cult. They're trying to say to them, this is not a good thing. They want to go back.
Yes, because also what happens with a cult is that one is isolated. So there is an all or nothing link to the cult itself. So one's thoughts have been reformed. Remember, you are isolated from society, you are being indoctrinated, and every cult has consequences for leaving. So once your mind is being trained, indoctrinated, you struggle to be an individual, to think critically, you struggle to then leave and stand on your own because there are certain ideas that are dominating, almost replacing the self.
Yeah. Interesting that you say that, because is it also purely that many people are looking for love, they're looking for security, they're looking for something, and of course this cult comes along and it's just the thing for them?
Yes, it plays on we have psychological needs. The human being is a social animal, so we like to belong somewhere. We want to fit in. We also have needs for care, financial needs, psychological needs. So when a cult is there and it meets some of those needs where one feels as if they belong, they can be taken care of. The world is explained in simple ways, in good and bad, where somebody can think and plan life for you, then it's easier to just remain there.
And of course, religion can be used as a weapon as well to entrap people on whatever level.
Yes, so it could be religious, it could even be political, it could even be a scientific organization, for example, where the individual is replaced by the ideology of the leader, or there's a certain creed that you almost, you leave yourself to follow this thing wholeheartedly. You devote yourself to pursuing certain ideals that are not necessarily of yours. So it could be religious, political, even scientific. So cults can come from different sectors of life.
I did touch on this earlier, but Thabang, what do you do then as a family member? I mean, do you go and kidnap the person back? I mean, do you approach the police? If somebody is listening to this interview, what should they do if a family member or loved one is there?
I'd recommend, so one of the things that works very effectively is noticing what the individual needs, because the cult must be meeting a certain need. So when we identify that need, it's what we have to address. Secondly, the other thing that might help would be to challenge the cult, but one has to be careful on how one does it, because it's the fact that you're isolated, you're being indoctrinated. One has to give a different perspective, and a different perspective will help one think more clearly and get challenged. And all you can do is also support and be there for the person, take care of them. And if they are in a dangerous situation, you can try and report. In this particular case, we hear that people reported, there wasn't action done. People ended up dying, but those are some of the things that people can do.
Clinical psychologist Thabang Tlaka, I really do appreciate your time on the Midday Report this afternoon.